Mr. Watson here, and in this video we're going to look at aerobic capacity and one of its key components, VO2 max. So let's start off with some definitions. Aerobic capacity, the ability of the body to inspire, transport and utilize oxygen to perform sustained periods of aerobic activity. Now I've actually added in myself there sub-max because there is a difference between aerobic capacity and VO2 max, and sometimes this can get confused. Aerobic capacity is submaximal. You are working aerobically up until around 80% of your maximum heart rate. Everything else above that is entering maximal performance. Now, the reason I've added that is VO2 max is the maximum volume of oxygen inspired, transport or utilized per minute during exhaustive exercise. So exercise that takes you up until your maximum, until you're completely fatigued. This is when your VO2 max will determine how good you are at doing that. So it's just important to know that. Okay, and we have capillarization, the formation and development of a network of capillaries to a part of the body increased through aerobic training. So these are some key terms that are going to come up in the series. And like I said, I'm going to break this up into different parts. So, aerobic capacity. It's more commonly known as cardiovascular endurance or stamina. So you might know this from GCSE and A2. However, at A2 you must use the term aerobic capacity or VO2 max, as long as, like I said, you know the difference. But you must not use cardiovascular endurance or stamina, especially in the exam. Okay, so it's dependent on the efficiency of the respiratory, cardiovascular and muscular systems. Aerobic capacity is the component of fitness that underpins all endurance-based work, such as long-distance running, triathlons, open water swimming, and cross-country skiing. However, it's also used in other sporting situations, such as team sports, in football and hockey, and also rowing. So anything that's endurance-based, or has intensities that are 80% or below, aerobic capacity is a key component of fitness for that sport or activity. Okay, so a key component of aerobic capacity is VO2 max. So this is the maximum volume of oxygen inspired, transported and utilized per minute during exhaustive exercise, as I said in the definitions. It's measured in milliliters per kilogram per minute. Okay, and there's a basic rule that we have, and it's the higher the percentage attained before fatigue sets in, the higher the aerobic capacity of a performer. So what that means is we all have a VO2 max, and that will have a number measured in milliliters per kilogram per minute, and usually in untrained performers, they can get to 60% of that VO2 max, whereas a trained individual can even get in excess of 85% of their VO2 max. So there's a huge difference there of about 25, possibly 30% of the maximum you can get, the more you can utilize. So the higher that percentage, the higher the aerobic capacity of a performer, and that's how you can link VO2 max to aerobic capacity. So this is just a little introduction, and I'm just going to show you now some published results of VO2 max. Now these are actually hard to find when you're searching the internet, but there are some that's out there. Typically you have your non-athletes, and they're around 40 to 50 milliliters per kilogram per minute. However, as we've just seen on the last slide, even then a non-athlete will only be able to get to 60% of that number if they're untrained. Okay, and then we've got a variety here, and you'll see we've got in the bottom right some games players, and they're around, these are Singapore's footballers, and they report around 55 to 60 millilitres per kilogram per minute, which is very good VO2 max scores. And then a little bit of an increase from the NHL there, Matthew Spencer, who recorded 70. But then we need to take a look at these ultra endurance athletes. And in 2012, Oscar Svensson, an 18-year-old Norwegian cyclist, he recorded a score of 97.5, which is absolutely incredible. Now, that's the highest score that has been published to date. And as he's obviously a trained athlete, he'll be able to access 85% of their VO2 max before fatiguing. So there's a huge difference there. And then in the top right, you've got Marius Bakken, who's also a long distance runner who recorded an incredible score there of 87.4. So this is just some examples of VO2 max scores that have been published. And we will be looking to do a test that gives an indication of a VO2 max score so you can compare to these incredible athletes. So that's aerobic capacity and its relationship with VO2 max. Thank you.